episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. I guess this is our holiday special because it's a couple days before Christmas and all that fun
And
jazz.
you're looking very festive with that beautiful beard and the Santa hat. Looks good.
Gotta give the people what they want.
Did you ever think about dyeing the beard a little white maybe for Christmas? I think that's what the people really want. Dye the hair and the beard white and then really complement the whole Santa thing.
I actually did try to dye my beard one time. I forget what year it was. It was a couple years ago when the Flyers were like they were about to go into the playoffs. They were like really good, really hot. I think it was the year they won like 10 in a row against the playoffs. And then I bought this like black beard dye. So I was like, I'll have a black beard and then have my orange hair. But then I started trying to put it on and it like wasn't working well. And then like my skin started to react to it. So I started getting like red like marks from it. So I was like, all right, this is probably a bad idea. I don't want to have like an allergic reaction stuck on my face.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I got to say, a very odd choice to dye your beard for a Flyers playoff run. I feel like you already have the ideal color for a Flyers playoff run. Like, I would dye my beard orange.
Contrast, so.
I think you should stick with it. But the white, I think the white would be a good look. You know, most fake Santas that you find in the mall and all that, they always have the beards. They have like those fake beards they put on. You have it.
I can do a white beard. You just got to wait, 40 years.
I think you should give it a glimpse now. But, we're feeling good. We're feeling merry. We're feeling in the holiday spirit. We got Christmas this week. Huge Eagles win. So I'm
going to say
good.
It would not be a Merry Christmas if they had lost to third, not even third string, a practice squad QB who just learned the playbook in 2 days. So
it's true. Yeah, no, that would have ruined, I think, everyone.
The whole situation was very messed up.
Yeah, but you know what? As long as we came up on top, we ended our Tuesday night curse too. There was no fear of Joe Webb this time around. We could wash away the sins and nightmares of the last time we played on Tuesday because this was a good game. This was I should say this was a good second half. The first half, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't feeling great. It was very irritable.
I wasn't surprised. I mean, they hadn't played in it was like. But they had the whole bye and then that extra 2-3 days. So
yeah, it showed.
I was expecting a little bit of rust, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's still like that game felt so weird because in the second half, like we had total control, right? But like we were only up by like one score most of the second half. And I was like, but it felt like a 20-point lead. It was very
that's
strange.
What happens. You spot the team 10 points in the first half. If they were playing against a good team, not a team that had, a quarterback that came on the roster 3 days ago, they're probably losing by more. And those penalties, those mistakes and coming out rusty like that hurts you. I do agree with you. I think it was just rust from being off for a while, not knowing the situation with COVID and everything. But again, these have to be corrected. If you want to be a playoff team, which things are looking good right now, you can't afford to make those mistakes. You can't have balls drop off your hands, point blank, and then kick them up for interceptions. You can't have fumbles where you're running into the defensive line. But I mean, ultimately, they did clean it up. They looked great in the second half. I thought the offense was kicking. Hurts looked really good. He looked crisp. The RPO was looking really well. They ran the ball well. All in all, very strong performance. I get props to Sirianni. I saw a lot of creative play calling. The penalties were there, but not nearly as much as we usually had. So I think all in all, it was a very successful outing and what you expected going against the team they went against.
Yeah, I actually thought the Washington quarterback he definitely missed a lot of throws, but he made some like pretty, important throws throughout that game to get them first downs. So, but yeah, he had a couple like in the dirt, like just wrong reads and stuff, which is absolutely to be expected. But
I think he played as well as you could expect in that situation.
Well, also the defense really ramped up in the second half. They were bringing a lot more pressure. The D line was literally making like a cocoon every time he would drop back. It was just like crushing in on him. His white jersey was literally covered in green by the end of it. So all the grass, but the fact that we only won by 10 and we had double the amount of total yards is kind of wild to me.
Well, that's what happens when you only play a half of football. I really didn't even come out and show up for the first half.
What were you saying?
I was furious. The first half was really mad, but the second half was so good, so efficient, so clean. Hurts looked really well. Miles Sanders was dominating. That offensive line, man, was beautiful. I don't know how many times I saw offensive linemen just 30 yards downfield. They
Kelsey,
looked
baby.
like Lane Johnson was doing them a lot of. They looked like they were having races, like just 100-yard sprints all game, just sprinting downfield, getting blocks. It was beautiful to see. I was really happy. Jalen Reagor even showed up. He had pretty much a career game. Yeah, I don't know how much that's saying, but he did stuff. He did stuff.
He made some. He made like 2 or 3 first down catches that were pretty important. So
I saw more from him this last game. I think I've seen in his entire career.
I mean, I with him is, I mean, we all see what we see, but the biggest thing I look at is I noticed his route running is not very good.
No,
and the mental thing. I think he's having like a mental block of confidence or whatever, but which is funny because it's kind of like the opposite of Aguilar is actually a very good route runner, but he just sucked at tracking the ball, and he sucked at catching. Reagor, I think, probably has better hands, but he just.
That's a tough argument to make, but I see where you're going with it.
But I mean, for the most part, he does catch the ball. It was just those two very obvious.
I mean, he also just doesn't get the ball thrown to him. He doesn't get the ball his way because he can't get open.
Speaking of catches, Devontae Smith out here making crazy toe tap catches going backwards, and I saw that and I was like, "Damn, Jalen missed him." And then I was like, "Wait, there's no way he got his feet in." And then I saw the replay. I was like, "That's impressive."
Yeah, but listen, that's what you wanted.
His
when
body
you
was getting
this guy, that's what you
and
expected.
stuff, and he was up in the air and somehow got both feet right down as he was being thrown out of bounds. So
that was a superstar play. That was a superstar play right there. It was beautiful to see.
Would still like to see more, targets for him, but definitely is a lot of upside. I think next year he'll have a really good year, but.
They still stuck to the game plan they were using before, the Giants game, where everything was just a disaster, where they were running the ball heavy. They had 41 carries, 15 for Howard, 18 for Sanders, who went for $131. It was 7.3 a pop.
Yeah, boy.
It was, they went back to the dominant run game they were doing, and Hurts made plays in the passing game when he needed to, and he looked good. Outside of the first half, where I think he looked a little rusty and it was a little off on a couple throws, but in the second half, he was making his throws. He was finding guys. He was making the right calls on the option. Yeah. Everything looked good. Dallas Goddard had the most infuriating 135-yard receiving game I've ever seen. Like, the guy, you look at his numbers, the game was awesome, but I got to say, I was screaming at my TV watching him. Like, you would look at his numbers. You look at his numbers, you're like, why would I be screaming his name? Just so infuriated, but these are becoming a habit now. Like, he's done this a couple of times and twice.
It's the same every time. He gets ahead of himself, tries to turn around, start running before he catches the ball. It's a very common thing that a lot of poor receivers do, which I was like, eventually it should click to him, the concentration thing.
Man, you hope.
But
it's a theme now. Like, these aren't just the first couple drops he's had this season. And you know what the real problem is? It goes back to what you're saying. He looks like he's trying to run first, because those 2 drops he had were big plays. There was no one in front of him. Well, they were both going to be. So. Well, yeah, they were both going to be big plays. Like, he had tons of space. I think that he probably scores a touchdown on at least one of them. And obviously, he kicks the ball up in the air and just gets the interception, which is just ridiculous. But you know what? You can look past it because everything clicked for them in the second half. They came out, the offensive line dominated, even with Dickerson out, which was nice. So all in all, I think we can be happy, and I think we can comfortably. I know we were teetering and tiptoeing around the P word last time. I think we can comfortably, think this might be a playoff team.
Yeah. The Vikings are the only team that stands in our way, and they have I'm pretty sure they play the Bucs and the Rams still. So.
Yeah. They have to play the Rams this week, yeah.
Yeah, so we just have to win out, and we'll be fine. But yeah, it was impressive that they were able to, adjust so well after that slow first quarter. We both quarterbacks had 20 completions, except Jalen had 110 more yards than Washington's QB.
Yeah,
and Washington had 21 rushing attempts for 63 yards. We had 41 for 238 against the number 4 run defense.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I love is that, like, a normal Eagles team, they would have not even attempted to run, or they would have given up on the run. Whereas, like, this coaching staff's like, we don't care what their defense, how good their defense is, or what their run defense rank is. We're just gonna run the ball 40 times and see what happens.
Hey, listen, a lot of credit to Sirianni. I know people were calling for him to be fired, by like week 3 or whatever it was.
Weren't you doing that?
Hey! I never dropped a fire word. I wasn't thrilled about what I was seeing, but I never once asked to fire the guy. But give credit to Sirianni because he's found what's going to work and he's stuck to it. And he came out with a very good game plan there. I liked, there was more pizzazz I was seeing from the play calling this time. I saw more motions. I saw more just creative options. He ran that diamond formation with the 4 wide receivers in Dallas out on the goal line the one time. And then they ran the QB sneak off that. Darius Slay came in for I don't know why exactly, but he was out there. He was doing things. They were getting more creative in the play calling, and it obviously benefited Jalen. This offense is built for Jalen and the skill players they have, and it's helpful. I mean, of course, you want to see them capitalize more. Maybe throwing a couple more deep balls and big plays in the passing game to feed off this play action. But I think that'll come. But ultimately, I mean, put away the rust. I think I saw plenty of things to be happy about in the second half from everyone: coaching staff, quarterback, offensive line, skill players. It was all a good game. Really, the only concern you have is Dallas's 2 drops, and he had 135 yards to go along with the 2 drops. So he kind of was trying to make up for it in the game.
Yeah. I think the defense still is very up and down. They're very inconsistent. I mean, they got better in the second half, but again, it was a banged up Washington team with a third string quarterback and a rotation of backup running backs once Gibson went out. So I don't think the Giants game is going to be like a beat down. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like similar, 10-point win kind of deal.
Oh, I would really like a beat down though.
I would not like, it would not surprise me if Jake Fromm has like a good game. I would not be surprised.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, he got, obviously his first NFL game time was last week, right in the middle of the game but so of course no one knows him. He's unexpected, so I'm sure he's going to come out there and they'll catch him off guard. But the Giants still stink. There's no way that they should, especially after the last game. I'll give you last game they can lose that, maybe sleeping on their opponent or whatever. This one, everyone has to be aware. They cannot let what happened last time happen this game. It just can't. This will tank your season if that happens.
Oh, I don't know if you saw the Eagles announced that Sirianni has COVID, so that's fun.
I did see that. That's very upsetting.
So we'll see how quickly he can recover from that, and how. I mean, it might not be that severe. Everyone has different, phases of it. So, and then I saw one a nice amount of accountability. Jordan Mailata posted on his Instagram today. It was something about like, great Eagles win. But he was like, listen, Philly, I'm going to be better. I know I have to be better. I'm going to cut down on the mistakes. I was like, that's what you like to see. Even in a win, a player pointing out that they, didn't have their best game. I don't know why he did try to, hold that safety or whatever. He literally could just push him with one hand and he would have fell on the ground. But
he didn't even touch him. He's so big. The guy's not going to get around him.
Yeah.
He had 2 big penalties that were tough. It comes down to that whole first half. They just look slow. And I think both his penalties might've been in the first half. Apeta had a rough holding call too.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, ultimately, I think the offensive line played well. Talked about how we saw them running downfield, lead blocking, and we got the recipe for a successful team in the cold weather and in playoff football. We run the ball well. We are strong in the lines. Our run defense has been strong. We gave up 69 rushing yards this week. We gave up 70 the week before that to the Jets and 70 to the Giants the week before that. It looks like it's coming together. This is a style of football that wins in the playoffs. Strong line play, strong defense, and run the ball. We're not going to, no one's going to want to play us. There's some high potent offenses in the NFC, but if you can run the ball and keep it away from the other team, I mean, we saw what happened in the Lions and Cardinals. That was a complete beatdown, but the Cardinals mostly just didn't have the ball. The Lions wouldn't give them the ball, and they never were able to get that offense going.
What did you see the stat? The Eagles are the first team since the '85 Bears, which is one of the greatest teams of all time,
Okay.
to rush for 175 plus yards in 7 straight games. So
that's not bad. That's something we get
good
behind.
company.
I like it.
Yeah. And Jalen Hurts passed Michael Vick for most Eagles rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. So that was
I did see that. That was good.
Cool. I think he's actually right behind. So Cam Newton has the record for the NFL at 14 rushing touchdowns. So he's only 4 behind. I mean, it's not unreasonable. So
Hell, he had what, two this past week, so you can keep that average up. We'll have it.
Oh.
But yeah, all in all, I think we can be happy. We can be merry. We can go into Christmas with a smile on our face.
Yep. And then if they lose against the Giants, we'll just drink.
They burn it down. Burn it down. That's it's torturous with the way that this season is, because they had some tough losses and it took them a while to figure things out. Is now we're at this point where we can have a really good feel-good win like this. But if they lose next week, that just everything's done. The season's gone, and it's just how it's going to be for the rest of the season.
Yep.
It's been like this for the last 3 years, I swear.
It's been like this since we became Eagles fans. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's really plays on your heartstrings. So, but you know what? Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a good slate of football, some Christmas cheer, and an Eagles win, and we can feel good going here. And it's been a good week. I mean, I was stuck in isolation with COVID, and we pretty much had football every single day, which helped isolation a lot. So I guess is one of the perks of COVID.
Yeah, we had football on Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's normal, par for the course.
I was happy. So I think we covered everything we need on the Eagles. So since we had games pretty much every single day, let's go a little run around the league. What do we see and feel from the league this week?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had obviously we had 3 games postponed with COVID, but last Thursday we had the Chiefs beating the Chargers. I mean, no real surprises there, but Chargers were up. Chiefs came back.
That was a game, man. They went to overtime. That was a hell of a game. It was really entertaining. And the Chiefs look like they were locked in, though. Oh, yeah. They played their game, and they went toe to toe with the team that was trying to match them, and they just outdid them. And they looked explosive in every bit.
Yep.
So it's amazing. I believe the Chiefs are number 1 seed now in the AFC.
They are.
And you just think back, well, what were they? They were like 3-5 or whatever ridiculous thing, and everyone was freaking out. Yeah. I gotta say, I stuck with them for a while, and I was like, oh no, they'll figure it out. I think I teetered around maybe week 10 or whatever, where they were looking a little iffy. Now they just proved everyone we can turn it on whenever we want. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah. We got a lot of COVID this week to deal with, but I think they're in a good spot.
Then on Saturday, we had the Patriots played the Colts. Colts came out on top 27-17. Carson Wentz hit his 14 games played or whatever percentage. So we are confirmed to have a first round pick from the Colts. So that's good.
That's always a good feeling. But I mean, great game. Colts are a scary team.
They're another team that's getting their defense got a little healthier as the season went on. They got back to how they were last year and the year before that. So
hey, everything I said about the Eagles playing a style of football that should make teams scared in the cold weather games and playoffs, the Colts are doing it right now. They're running the ball better than I think anyone else. That defense is menacing. They get turnovers. Man, they make Billy B jealous about the amount of turnovers they get. And I mean, listen, say what you want about Wentz. I mean, he only threw 12 passes. So, he's doing enough. Yeah. It helps when you have Jonathan Taylor and that incredible defense, but he's doing enough.
Then on Sunday, we had Cowboys beat the Giants 21-6. Glennon either got hurt or he got benched. And then what's his name? Jake Fromm came in, Georgia guy. So we'll see how that plays out against the Eagles next week. But yeah, not much to say about that game.
The Giants still stink. That's what we know about them.
Game of the week, Texans and Jags. Texans end up coming out winning 32-16. Hey, surprised even with the whole Urban Meyer firing that Jags didn't have a little more gusto, but
I think once they fired Urban, they were just so exhausted. You look at the team. I think Trevor Lawrence even came out and he's like, it's just good to have the drama go on. And honestly, if you think about it, you look at the recent interviews when all this Urban shit was hitting the fan, the way that Urban handled themselves and the way that Trevor Lawrence was handling himself, you would think that Trevor Lawrence was the coach, not a rookie 23-year-old kid or whatever he is. But I think that they've already put an end to the season. I think they've had enough, but they got the first overall draft pick now.
This is true. So, I mean, they've had top 5 picks for besides the year they went to the AFC Championship game, which is just hilarious to say.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of top 5, top 10 picks.
Hey, man, the Jaguars' job was highly sought after, I think, just for Trevor Lawrence this past year. The fact that you have Trevor Lawrence and another first overall pick coming in, that's a job someone's going to want. Someone really badly is going to want that.
Go get it, Dougie P.
Yeah.
Titans beat the Steelers beat the Titans 19-13. The Steelers and Mike Tomlin seem to do this every year where they look like a terrible team, and then somehow they're still in playoff contention until the very last week of the season. So, classic Steelers.
Just going to throw this out. I picked them this week, and pretty much for that exact reason, that they just win these games. And it comes to like December, they're just one of those franchises that wins these games.
Roethlisberger passed Phillip Rivers for 5th all-time in passing yards in NFL history with 63,440. So that's a lot of yards. Moving on, we had the Dolphins won, 6 straight. Beat the Jets 31-24. They're really ruining the Eagles' draft pick by winning games.
Yeah, it's a real shame. It really is disgusting to see.
Yeah.
But Tua's doing enough. Freaking Duke Johnson came out of the woodworks to have a hell of a game.
Yeah.
If you just tell me like, oh, tell me something notable about the Dolphins every week, I just tell you that they win. I couldn't even tell you what they do to win. I look at Tua's stat line every week, and like it's always like okay, like he'll have like 2 picks, 2 touchdowns, like an okay average. Some other guys will have like 60 yards or whatever. I never really watched that many Dolphins games, but for some reason they just keep winning. Couldn't really tell you what it is, but they just keep winning.
Yeah. I mean, they also have been playing really shitty opponents, though. So
that helps, but they just keep winning.
So I actually, before this next game, I actually placed a wild, 18 parlay just on money line.
Yeah.
On Sunday, and all of them. Well, the Browns lost, so I would have lost anyways. But through Sunday, they all hit except for one game, and that would be the Cardinals, who lost to the Lions 30-12 in the biggest surprise game of the week. But I will say it's very exciting to see Craig Reynolds, the Kutztown alum, getting. Look
at you.
Yeah, he had 112 rushing yards. Looking good, getting some action in, because he bounced around a little bit when he came. He was undrafted, and then I think he was with Washington. He was with Washington, and then some other team. But I'm glad he's getting some time in the NFL. It's cool to see because, small D2 school. But
that's a pretty terrible game by the Cardinals all in all. I'll give a special shout out, though, to Jared Goff. Jared Goff's had a tough year. He had to deal with the whole McVay thing where, he was coming out there. It's like the girlfriend, he comes out, yeah, she's great, all the best, blah, blah, blah. But, you're always in the background just fiending off Tinder, Bumble, doing whatever you can to get out of it. And ultimately they did send him to the barren. Barren when it comes to NFL destinations. Guys had a rough year, been getting crushed pretty much every week. And they came out, had a nice game, 21-26, 216, 3 touchdowns. Nice game to beat one of the top teams in the NFL and get them another win. Dan Campbell, he's got considering he only has 2 wins, I'd still give him a vote. I'd still give him a vote for Coach of the Year. But hats off to Jared Goff because he's taken a lot of criticism, deservedly so, but also in a tough situation. And he came out there, had a really good game, and beat one of the better teams. And just pitiful for the Cardinals. This is a rough game. This is not one of those games. I know we talked about this before the show started when we were doing our power rankings, and you didn't see it as bad as I did, but. This is a brutal game. This is probably one that if things don't go well and they get an early exit in the playoffs, this is one I'm going to come back to and say this is when the whole thing fell apart.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think Jared Goff, kind of the opposite of a Sam Darnold, where Jared Goff started off very, very slow, and then as the games have gone on, he's actually been playing fairly well the last 5-6 games. And to be honest, and I love Stafford, but I think Goff had the same record, if not better, last year with the Rams that Stafford has with them right now. So I don't know, but yeah, he's still all right. The Lions compete. That's all I guess you can really ask for them at this point. But
yeah, they do. They don't give up.
The Bills got a much needed win over the Panthers, 31-14. Again, nothing really to talk about with that one, but.
Well, if you're over here shouting out your alumni, I'm going to shout out Gabriel Davis, 5 for 85 and 2 touchdowns, UCF, baby.
Oh, UCF, okay.
There you go. Shout out the alums.
Shout out to the alums. Very boring game, honestly. I watched the whole entirety of it. Bengals at the Broncos. Bengals came out 15-10 with the victory. Very defensive battle, and it was kind of surprising to see. I believe he was both our number one safety. Justin Simmons just got absolutely wrecked on a deep ball to Tyler Boyd. I mean, all Boyd did was make one cut, and then Simmons was just left in the dust. So, yeah, he didn't have a great game. I was kind of watching some of his play, and not his best stuff. But Broncos, again, a weird team. Bengals are winning. They're very back and forth. They win some games, and they lose some games, and then so we'll see if they end up making the playoffs or not. But I mean, that division is, I think they're all tied at 8-6. So
yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, they were. Yeah, the Browns went from if they won, they were first, to if they lost, they were in last.
Oh, I think they're ahead of the Steelers because Steelers have the tie. So
okay.
The Falcons lost to the 49ers 13-31. Niners have won 3 straight. So that's not good for the Eagles. Or 3 straight at their home stadium, I should say. But
yeah, fifth win in 6 games. They're cruising, man. Yeah. They look like they're putting it together. I'm telling you, they look like a team that is going to get in that wild card spot, and no one's going to want to play in that first week. And you know what? This goes back to what I was saying about Arizona. I could easily see the Arizona being matched up with the 49ers in week 1 of the playoffs and get bounced. It's just they're a hot team. They can run the ball well. Jimmy G does enough, and the defense looks like it's coming alive. So don't put anything past Kyle Shanahan. I still think he's a really good coach and can get them some wins.
Sure. Sunday night game, or excuse me, Sunday 4:00 game. We had Packers in a tight one beating the Ravens 31-30. I'm not sure why Harbaugh once again wanted to go for 2. Both times they've resulted in failure. So
I don't really get it either.
Yeah, unless he just thought, the only thing I can think of is that there was still time on the clock. So I'm guessing he just thought Rodgers was just going to drive down the field, and he was like, "This is our only chance to,
I guess."
But he was still like, get the tie, like, I don't know.
The over aggressiveness. I hate to go back to one, but I actually forgot, because this is one thing that was driving me nuts because it was so long ago. Brandon Staley went for it like 4 times on like 4th down during the game.
He just hates his kicker.
I don't understand. Had you made one of those in a game that went in overtime, had you even made one of those field goals, the game would have been over. He would have won. He would have never went to overtime. I get doing it maybe once or twice, but my God, man, he literally did it like 4 times. It just was idiotic. And I don't think he got a single one.
Yeah, I understand that.
Did not make sense. I know, and every time they do it, and announcers are like, "Oh, the analytics are telling you to do this." I'm like, are they updating these analytics? Because I feel like recently they haven't been doing too well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that's the thing. It's such a hard thing to gauge how much of it you really should be looking into and whatnot. But
I think it just takes the lust. It's one of those, like, use it for like momentum, and like it's a special, like your offense needs to be get up and like pumped up, ready to go. Like you do it 4 times and they just can't do it. Eventually you're just going to lose confidence. I had to think. Harbaugh did it, I think, in another game this season not too long ago. It's just like, do it a couple, like get a couple 4th downs thing. I remember when Dougie P was like the inventor of it, but like the Eagles that Super Bowl year were getting the 4th downs. Like it was something they were comfortable doing, and they were doing most of the time. They weren't just doing it randomly and failing majority of the time.
Yeah. Another, I mean, if the Lions beating the Cardinals wasn't surprising, the Saints shut out Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 9-0.
Yes.
It was actually a pretty competitive game for the Bucs to score 0 points. I was watching Malcolm Jenkins still, covering tight ends, going after Gronk, did a pretty good job.
Great matchup.
That Saints D was all over Brady. He was not having a good time. He was flipping off coaches. He was breaking tablets on the sideline. He was, I was shocked that he actually stayed on the field to shake hands after the game, the way that was unfolding. So,
I mean, we know Brady is a baby, even though he's 44. It doesn't really matter. We just all know he acts like a child whenever he loses. It doesn't happen very often, but when he does lose, he is a child. We all know that. So, I mean, it is what it is. He won't get fined, even though he cursed out a coach. But I think CeeDee Lamb's been fined for wearing the wrong shirt or whatever, or not tucking in a shirt. So they pick and choose. But it is what it is. When it's Brady, the rules don't apply. Yeah,
this is the first time he's been shut out since 2006.
What's amazing?
We were in fifth, sixth grade. That's crazy.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I thought that too. Like I thought, wow, that's amazing. And like I kind of figured Brady had done it for so long, but I think they said it was his third shutout of his career. And then they mentioned Breeze and Manning were never shut out.
That's surprising as well.
Yeah, I was like, wow. I mean, 06 is something, but then to never do it, I was like, damn, that's pretty. I'm like, Brady sucks. You know, did it 3 times.
Yeah, but we had two Monday games, 2 Tuesday games. Monday we had the Raiders and the Browns. Raiders had a game-winning field goal as time expired, so they won 16-14. I mean, the Browns were starting Nick Mullins, and we saw him last year on the Niners, and he was terrible. So, no surprises there.
Yeah, it's kind of a snooze of a game. It was exciting for like the last drive. That was about it.
Yeah, Monday games were brutal, and then the Vikings beat the terrible Bears, who are now eliminated from playoff contention, 17-9. So.
I gotta say that even an ugly game, it was entertaining because the amount of personal fouls and like just like near horrific umpire decisions. The refs were awful in that game. There was some brutal personal fouls, but I mean, it's still entertaining in a comedic way because the game was so bad.
I mean, you want to talk about horrible calls. Tuesday game, we had Seattle and LA Rams. Rams won 20-10, but the Seahawks were trying to push late in the game, and it was like 4th down, and I don't know if you saw, but the Rams, I think it was a linebacker, really very clear pass interference on the running back when he's trying to catch the ball. No flag, no nothing. And then he, obviously in frustration, he kicks the ball, and then he gets penalized for unsportsmanlike conduct. But they missed the one of the most egregious PIs I've seen. That was
That was, I mean, I thought it was pretty close because the ball was coming in, but he didn't even attempt to turn his head.
No,
and that's usually a clear.
That, and then on the replay, he literally just grabbed him. Like you could see his arm. He couldn't get his arms up to make a catch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was a tough call. That was a real tough one. The reffing really is tough, man.
Yeah, but I will say I'm very, very shocked at, maybe it's just because he's a white wide receiver, but Cooper Kupp it surprises me. I did not expect him to have this kind of a season. I always just thought he was going to be some slot guy, but he's a baller. 100? He's got 120 catches, 1,600 yards, 14 touchdowns. He's killing it.
He set the Rams franchise mark for receptions, the 120. And he's got 3 games left. He's going to come for that Michael Thomas record.
Maybe, what was it, 155? I think was Michael Thomas.
I think it's 149.
Oh, 149. Yeah, so he passed Isaac Bruce, one of the best, one of the great Rams receivers have passed.
It's pretty amazing how quick the NFL works, because look at Michael Thomas. The last time we saw him was pretty much when he set the record that year. And then he's now been hurt. He's going to miss his second season. He's going to come back, have his record already beat by someone else, and lose his Hall of Fame quarterback. The whole NFL is going to be completely different by the time this guy.
He might not even play again. Who knows?
I don't know what the hell's going on there, but I mean, he's going to be disappointed when he comes back and sees Taysom Hill at the quarterback, because I can tell you right now, he is not a quarterback. He is that supplemental extra guy. He looked terrible this past game.
Oh, yeah.
They need a quarterback to play with him because he could not throw the ball.
Yeah, that's why I think it's right between the Vikings and the Eagles for the last wild card spot. I just don't think the Saints have enough on offense. They just don't have a quarterback. You need a quarterback in some way. So, and then the Eagles also played on Tuesday. It was weird that they had both games at 7 p.m. Like, I didn't catch any of the Seahawks game. I had to watch highlights. So,
yeah, me too. But it is what it is.
But that's a wrap of Week 15. So we have 3 games left. So Tim, going into Week 16, who are our studs and duds of the past week of football?
Obviously, we're in a good mood because the Eagles came off a big win and it's Christmas, so we're gonna have to start with the studs. So kicking off our list, we're going to go defensive, which doesn't always appear on the list, but I like to try to integrate them more into the list every week. But honestly, after the performance we saw, it's always a team effort, but this guy single-handedly was dominant against arguably one of the best offensive lines in football. And then when you factor in, he had 2 sacks and a game almost changing fumble against one of the quickest releases in NFL history, and against one of when it comes to quarterbacks that don't get hit, you start with him and pretty much finish with him. So when you also manage to throw a shutout against the GOAT, you got to get noticed. So with 2 sacks, a forced fumble, 3 quarterback hits, and a guy that was just all over the place, and he had 5 total tackles as well, I'm going to go with Mr. Cam Jordan, cracking up our stud list.
Yeah, I'm not a big Cam Jordan fan, but he had a very good game, so I'll give him credit.
I mean, listen, we all know we've seen the Giants Super Bowls. You got to get to Brady with four guys, and that's what the Saints did. And you got to give credit because the Buccaneers offensive line don't get enough credit. They are easily one of the best lines in football, and Wirfs in particular got worked by Cam Jordan.
Yeah.
So it was really, really dominant performance by him. So he's going to crack our list there. Moving on, we got a guy that pretty much I can just pencil in every week in the studs list. But when he puts up these performances, I can't help but to put him on the list. Sometimes I like to diversify, put a couple new guys in there, but you just can't help it when you see dominant performances week in and week out. Huge win, went for 29 carries, 170 yards, 1 touchdown. That's a 5.9 average. And if that wasn't good enough, he was the game-sealing play, the touchdown right at the end. I think it was a big 60-yard run right at the final seconds to officially step on the throat and ruin the Patriots' chances. And considering he pretty much carried the whole offense, managed to put up 27 points when his quarterback had 5 completions on 12 attempts for 57 yards, and to do it against a Bill Belichick defense, that's pretty impressive. So, I'm on this list almost every week, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, he's literally replaced Derrick Henry on our list. So
he's incredible. He's really incredible. I just want you to remember the blasphemy you mentioned about him preseason, but that's another
what
time.
did I said I just need to see one more year. He was obviously watching the episode. He's like, damn, I need to really play well. So I get into Dakota's top 10.
That's true. Motivation. Everyone, takes it from wherever.
Same with Darius Slay. We said he was a nominee, where I think we had him at 10. I don't remember, but yeah, he's had a phenomenal year. So.
All right. You need something, you need to see more. I'm more of be a year early than a year late. And what did I say? I was right on time. Yeah. Moving on, we're going to go back. Actually, number one stud comes from our Thursday night game again this week. Dominant performance. And coming off of 10 receptions, 191 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And one was just a mega one in overtime, which I think sealed the game. So back-to-back game-sealing touchdowns for our stud list participants. Guy that has been dominant all year and showed up again and really is starting to turn it on as his team's turning it on. We're going to go with Mr. Travis Kelsey.
He's a monster.
He's so good, man. I'm telling you, you see him run. He gets the ball and then runs around linebackers and safeties like he's a slot wide receiver, not a 32-year-old tight end. He is just so quick, nimble. He was out there just putting the Chargers in the spin cycle. They didn't even know what was going on. So that's our stud list this week. Moving on to the bad stuff for the guys that got coal in their stocking this week. So we're going to start this off with, honestly, a guy that, I'm putting on this list because I don't think I'm going to have many more chances soon, because I think his time's coming to an end very soon. And easily one of the most embarrassing performances I saw from any offense in this season. And a game that was just comedy. I had literally 4 different players on this one offense on the dud list for consideration. Okay. They had just a multitude of just penalties, drop passes, just stupid misplays, inefficient just passes, just all around horrific gameplay, and really sad because it was a close game for the most part. Their defense played really well, actually limited the other team to only 17 points. But the guy that's calling the plays, the guy that leads the team, that isn't disciplined, that gets, I think they had 6 personal fouls and then can't score a point or a touchdown in the single game, is an offensive guru in the offensive mind. And he's supposed to be developing your own quarterback. And it's clearly obvious this team is falling apart and doesn't listen to him anymore. So for probably what's going to be his last season, we're going to go cracking the dud list, Mr. Matt Nagy.
Yeah, he was supposed to be this, really, what's the word? Like, I guess unique coach or whatever, like not unique. What's the word? Revolutionary, maybe. Okay. He just came out and he just hasn't been super Bears have been very average for quite a few years now. So
I can say all that I said, but just if you watch that game, you would know exactly what I mean, because the team's just undisciplined. There's no excitement to the offense. They can't do anything. It's just really, it looks like Fields is taking a step back from what we saw earlier in the season. Yeah. The locker room doesn't seem to be interested in them anymore. It's just sad. And the defense played really well. So it was a really bad performance. Moving on, though, this one's a special one because this is a guy that never makes the dud list, and I don't think he's ever been in consideration for dud list his entire career. So when I have a chance to put him on there, I'm going to jump on it. And obviously when he acts like a baby and throws his tantrum when he loses, it makes it feel a little better. But Really did not play well. We hit on it a little bit already. He was obviously didn't put up any points. Had his first shutout since 2006. He did have a lot of injuries to his offense, but still he played pretty bad himself. 26 of 48. He had an interception, a really tough fumble that really sealed the game for the Saints there. And ultimately, he had one tablet destroyed. He cursed out one coach, and that was more than the touchdowns he threw. So we're going to go with the GOAT, Mr. Tom Brady, as the second dud on our list.
Wow.
Like I say, we don't really get many chances to say any slander to Tom Brady. So when they're given, I jump all over it. And then moving on, we got on a really just dismal performance. Like, this is one of those, I mean, to be fair, you don't really expect much, but come on. To not even finish the game is the one thing. Just go out there and stay on the field. But when you go 13 of 24, 99 yards passing, and 3 interceptions with no touchdowns, it's hard to really consider keeping you out there. And honestly, I think this is a sign just for what a disaster this franchise is, because now they shut down Daniel Jones. Mike Glennon, who is my number one dud, obviously didn't do anything impressive because this whole offense stinks. And now you're going to throw out Jake Fromm to get crushed and destroyed to finish the season. But Mike Glennon, you are the number one dud after not even being able to finish the game and throwing 3 picks in a game that you lost 21-6 to the Cowboys.
Yeah, that was not some great performances this past weekend. So see that.
What are you going to do, though? I did think the one part was comedy. There was obviously Michael Parsons is just having an incredible year, but there was one the one play where he picked up Kenny Golladay in coverage and made a pass breakup.
Oh yeah,
and you have to think, like, when you think about whether you should fire Dave Gettleman, just remember that this guy gave Kenny Golladay $50 million guaranteed, and a rookie linebacker just went and broke up a pass against him. So just think about that when you're deciding on whether you should keep him in New York.
I don't think anyone thought that was a good signing. Like, he was just chasing the money at that point.
I don't think it was a good signing, but it's been much worse than I could have ever dreamed of.
And I have not been impressed with Joe Judge at all. He does not seem like a good, like, I thought he was going to be like a Dan Campbell kind of coach. But
he did have the Dan Campbell vibe.
He just seems like a boring guy. Like, I don't get like a, I don't want to say he's not intelligent, but I don't get like a innovative coach. I don't get like a really smart coach vibe from him. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you hit on the head. He did remind me of kind of was like the original Dan Campbell with kind of that Bill Belichick arrogance.
Yeah.
But it really, like you said, like, it doesn't really seem like he's coming up with some incredible X's and O's.
No,
this team stinks, and they're kind of, the confidence is gone in that building. Like, they all stink. Like, there's really nothing going from them. They're going to full rebuild again. There's just no way around it.
Maybe Jake Fromm's their future. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Moving on, we have our Too Much Whiz. So, starting it off, Too Much Whiz. This team has had a lot of injuries over the past few weeks, and more so this past weekend. Tampa Bay Buccaneers will not play in the Super Bowl. Too much whiz?
I'm gonna say not too much whiz. I mean,
even without Godwin and Fournette.
Or I'm sorry, I apologize. Too much whiz. Yeah, I take the field. I'll take the field. Let's say it that way.
So you don't think they're gonna make the Super Bowl?
No, you throw me these mind twisters every once in a while. The way they're worded, I'm not counting them out. Like, I'm more concerned about the Arizona Cardinals than I am the Bucs. They still have Brady. The offensive line's still great. Fournette, Evans, they all seem like they'll be back. Obviously, besides Godwin for the playoffs, they've been there before. That defense is still strong. They held the Saints to 9 points.
But David too.
Yeah, I mean, the NFC's strong. I mean, I think the Packers are probably my favorite right now. The Cowboys, I think, are going to be a problem. Yeah. I think the Rams are still in the hunt for it. So I'll take the field. I think it's going to be tough. It's extremely tough to get back-to-back Super Bowls. But, I mean, I'm not going to count out Brady. But I think if I had to decide, I'd pick the field over the Buccaneers.
Fair enough. Second question.
Okay.
Too much whiz. And we actually talked a little bit about this earlier. Jalen Hurts will beat Cam Newton's 14 touchdown record that he set in his rookie year back in 2011 for most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback.
You know what? I'm in a good mood. Jalen looked good. He had 2 this past week. I'm going to say not too much with it. I think he can definitely run for it.
Okay.
He's 4 behind him. We got 3 games.
Yeah.
Listen, I say there's a chance. I mean, you're not really going against Murder's Row when it comes to defenses to finish the year. So I think he's definitely gonna have a strong chance at it. He's looked good in the option game and running the ball. So.
I mean, plus they give him the ball at the goal line instead of the running back. So
hey, that's right. I'm all for it. I think he's got a strong chance at it. I really do.
I will say something back to the Eagles real quick. I got so excited when I saw Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders both in the huddle, and then they had them both in the backfield. I was like, I've been waiting for this. Like, you got the speed of Sanders, and then you have the power of Howard. Like, the defense literally doesn't know, is it going to be an option? Is it going to be a dive? Is it going to be a sweep? Is it going to be a counter? Like, is it going to be a play action? Like,
hey, and you factor in Hurts legs too. It looks good, and Sirianni's putting up some plays to put them all together. It looks like the offense is really coming together. I'm excited. I was really happy with what I saw.
Yeah. All right. And finally, too much whiz. Once again, in a press conference, Mr. Aaron Rodgers kind of alluded to this being the end of his time with the Packers without actually saying it. So my question to you is, too much whiz. Aaron Rodgers this is all like a farce and he's actually not going to leave? So actually it's not even a whiz question. It's more of like what do you believe? It's hard to word it, but I guess I'll say it this way. Too much whiz. Aaron Rodgers will be leaving the Packers after the season, no matter what happens.
I say not too much whiz. He seems pretty hell-bent on this. I
feel like some of it's an act. It's so hard to tell. I think he could just be teasing.
I don't know.
He's a weird guy.
Listen, he's definitely a diva. There's no way to really put it, but he seems like he loves to control the narrative, and he's controlled it the whole way that he's going somewhere else. And I think he would love nothing more than, because what better way to give the double birds to your organization that you're mad at than to go win a Super Bowl and then leave? Just be like, listen, I did everything I could. I gave you a championship. They're the scumbags. They're why I'm leaving. And because if you were a fan base, how pissed are you be that this guy went? I mean, you'd be thrilled that you win the Super Bowl, but then he leaves. Like, I'd be furious with the front office.
The party gift.
I mean, listen, I would not feel good if he wins the Super Bowl and then moves on. I mean, of course you get the Super Bowl, which is nice. Don't get me wrong, but that I think is the best double bird. Like, this isn't me. I'm still awesome. I can still win. It's you, and it's been you since the beginning. He put that Last Dance picture up when he started the season. Michael Jordan kind of did a similar thing where, he had an issue with the organization with Jerry Krause, and he just kept going out there and winning. But then, you know what? Ultimately, he came to the point where he's like, I'm leaving. It's you. I'm awesome. And I think that Aaron Rodgers at this point is looking for the next challenge. He likes the attention. He likes the diva. He put down many reasons why he's mad at the organization. I mean, they could win the Super Bowl. It's never been wins. Like, they were 13-3 in the NFC Championship game the last two years. It's never been about the fact that the team's not good or that there isn't a roster ready to compete. He clearly just has issues with the front office outside of just wins and losses. Yeah. And it just seems like he's been doing too much of this. I'm leaving. I'm pissed off, blah, 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 for it not to be true.
Yeah, and they've been winning too without some of their best players. Especially on defense, like Jair Alexander's been out. I think it's either Zadarius Smith or the other Smith player.
Zadarius Smith is out. Yeah,
he's been out.
I think David Bakhtiari is not even back yet.
Yeah, David Bakhtiari hasn't been playing. So they're the best record in the league, and they don't even have their best players. So
I will say mostly why I took the field was because I feel very good about the Packers. I think the Packers are my favorite to definitely go to the Super Bowl, maybe win it, man. I could see
Packers Chiefs at this point. They seem like the two front runners. So
I mean, let's be honest, the Packers, they're the one consistent throughout the whole season. They really haven't had any down games.
Well, that first game, and then after that, it's been smooth sailing.
Yeah, but I mean, even that first game was against the Cardinals, right, where they got bushwhacked.
No, it was I think that was the Jameis Winston 5-touchdown game.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. Outside that, they've been very consistent. And
all right. And moving on to our power rankings. So we had a lot of shuffling again because, whenever we put top three teams together, they all decide they want to lose, except for the Packers. So it's coming in again at number one is our reigning champ, the Green Bay Packers. Then at number two, we have the Chiefs moving up, who've, like we were saying earlier, have just been on fire. Number three, we have the Rams moving up. They've slowly crawled their way back, and now they're I believe they're tied with the Cardinals for the NFC West right now. So, but they're still in the wild card from due to the head-to-head stuff. Buccaneers drop back to number 4. I mean, they have Tom Brady. They'll always be in contention at this point, so it's just a matter of them getting healthy enough. 6, we have the Cardinals moving back a couple spots. Tim's much more worried about them than I am, but there's definitely some concerns.
By the Lions.
There's some concerns, but I still think they can beat the teams behind them in the power rankings. 7, we have the Cowboys. 8, we have the Colts after an impressive win over the Patriots. 9, we have the Bills still cruising. And then number 10, first time on our list, I believe, is the San Francisco 49ers. So they're 8-6. They're playing really well. They're also a hot team. So a lot of teams are catching fire towards the end of the season, which is, nothing uncommon. But those are the teams that usually see success in the first week or two of the playoffs before they meet, the world beaters. But
and then look at that transition, because who's the first game for next week, which starts tomorrow? It's amazing. We're going right back into football.
Niners and Titans. Before that, just want to point out that we beat the guests this week in our picks, so that was nice recovery. We were having a couple rough weeks there.
Rough weeks. I lost one game last week there, but don't speak for both of us now.
Shut up. So what the heck? My headphones were acting up. You went, I believe it was, you and I both went 11-5. We basically swapped. You picked the Patriots, and I picked the Bears because I was on crack, obviously. So
I tell you not to do crack before these podcasts. You never listen to me.
Yeah. But besides that, most of our picks were actually the same. Actually, I'm trying to double check. And then I picked the Titans. You picked the Steelers, but I picked the Texans. You picked the Jaguars. So evened out. And then
I think picking the Steelers was more impressive than you picking between the garbage can and the dumpster of the Texans and Jaguars.
Meh. I think picking the Colts is more impressive than picking that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways. And then my friend Bobby, we had him on as the guest. He went, let's see. So he was 10-6. So only one game behind us, but he had the Broncos and the Ravens and the Browns. So didn't work out too well for him. But moving on, we have a new week, new set of games. And like Tim said, pretty good Thursday night game we have on deck, the 49ers and the Titans. So who are you feeling?
I feel like I was gassing them up too much not to pick them now. And I think they're hot. I like what they're doing right now. Tough game. This is a tough game. This might be the toughest one this week. But I think the 49ers keep it rolling and beat the Titans.
Yeah, part of me wants to say that the Titans might be getting a little help back. I think AJ Green might be playing. But as much as I'd rather pick against the Niners so that, Eagles have a better chance at the wild card, I just don't see it. So I'll also take the 49ers in that game. Next game we have 2 Christmas games. The first one at 4:30 on Saturday. We have the Browns at the Packers. No idea what the Browns' health is going to be like. I don't know if Baker's going to play or the other backup or Nick Mullen or, apparently Garrett is having some injury problems. Somebody else has COVID on that team. So they're not looking very good. So I'll take the Packers in that game.
Yeah, I mean, like Nick Mullins, Baker, Case Keenum, I really just don't think the Browns are a very good team. I'm going to take the Packers. They're cruising. They seem to be the best team in football right now.
Yeah. This should also be a pretty good one. Christmas night, 8 o'clock game. We have the Colts at the Cardinals. Colts are hot. Cardinals need a win. Who are you feeling?
I'm telling you that Cardinals lost to the Lions was not something to just scuff away and count off as a fluke. That was really disappointing on both sides. I think the Colts win this game. I think they go in Arizona and get a win.
Wow.
They're a hot team, man. Hot team. I think they're gonna listen. The Lions just kept the ball away from the Kyler and that offense, and the Colts can do the same exact thing with the run game they have, and I expect it to be the same kind of game plan.
I could see that, but I think the Cardinals just know the importance. I mean, the Colts, it's an important game for the Colts too, but I think the Cardinals realize they need to bounce back and they need to start building some momentum into the playoffs to make. I mean, technically, if they lose out, there's no guarantee they'll even make the playoffs because if the Eagles win out, they'd be the same record. So, but yeah, I'm gonna take the Cardinals. I think they'll rebound. But
fair enough.
Next game we have is the Lions at the Falcons, and for some reason I find this to be a very hard game to pick.
Yeah,
two bad teams against each other. In Atlanta, I'll take the Falcons.
The Lions already got some momentum going right now. They're building an identity. They're strong in the Lions. When I say strong, I mean as strong as you can be for a 2-win team. But Matt Ryan is literally running for his life every single play. That offensive line is so bad. I think the Lions get another win here.
All right, fair enough. Next game we have is the Rams at the Vikings, and this is on Sunday, as was the last game. But I'm just going to pick the Rams solely because I need the Vikings to lose for the Eagles' hopes. So,
yeah, I'm expecting a shootout. I just know the Vikings defense isn't very good. I think the Rams
greatest show on TV, right? Vikings.
Listen, tell me right now, don't think the Vikings versus Rams is going to be an entertaining game? I tell you, I'll have my popcorn ready for that game.
Okay, it's 1:00, or so you'll be. What time is that? That's like 6:00 or something. Yeah. Dinner time. Next game we have is the Jaguars at the Jets. Good golly. That's a toughie. Both teams are kind of terrible. I'll take the Jets in this one.
Sound very confident doing it.
No. Which of the lesser J's do you want to pick?
I picked the Jaguars last week, and that didn't go well in the Toilet Bowl. In Toilet Bowl 2, I'm going to learn from my mistake. I really think the Jaguars just called it a season now. I think the Jets win this game.
All right. It's weird that we both agree on the terrible team, but take it.
Listen, the Jaguars burned me last week. I can't pick them again.
So Tuesday was the Eagles' most important game of the year. Once again, we have a most important game of the year for the Eagles because it's just going to be every week until playoffs start. Eagles, Giants at the Eagles, another home game, 1:00 day after Christmas. Obviously, I think we're both going to take the Eagles here.
Yeah, for the sake of my sanity, my security deposit in my apartment, and my arrest record, the Eagles better fucking win this game. Otherwise, I'll be a madman in the streets.
The streets of London are going to be people are going to be
hot. We're going to be hot.
That would be a sight to see if there was an actual mob of people rioting because the Eagles lost all the way in London.
Trust me, if it happens, you'll see on CNN, and I'll be in the front of it. I'll be leading the whole cause.
Yeah, tell them to grease the poles ahead of time.
Yeah.
Next game we have a very, very important divisional game. Bills at the Patriots. Who you feeling?
This one's tough too. This one in the Niners game is the toughest one to pick. You know what? It's in New England, but I know the Patriots probably aren't going to lose 2 in a row, but the Bills need this game. They're still teetering on that playoff spot, and they lost last time they played, and they obviously haven't forgotten about it. I think the Bills win this one. I think they go into Gillette and pull out a much needed, because you can't really say must-win game more than this. This is everything for the Bills. I mean, it's been a down season, really, from what all the expectations were. Yeah. Everyone expected them to be a juggernaut. You're looking at an 8-7 record if you lose, pretty much giving up the division to the Patriots if you lose this as well. You can't afford to lose this game. It's too much, too important. I think that the Bills pull this one out.
All right. I'm sad to agree that I also think of similar mindset. I just think the Bills, I think the Patriots are just going to have I don't think this is the old Patriots team that's just unbeatable in December. So I think the Bills will get a much needed win here. Next game.
I didn't see what the weather looks like, because I definitely say the last time when they played, when it was blizzard, that definitely helped the Patriots more. The Patriots don't want to get in a Mac Jones versus Josh Allen, shootout.
No.
So we'll see. I mean, Gillette could be a blizzard. Who the hell knows? But I still
Yeah.
think the Bills just need it too much for them to lose.
Yeah. Yeah. Both of us on the Bills there. So next game we have Ravens at the Bengals. Another interesting game. I do not know if Lamar is going to be playing or not. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not. Sorry, I have not. I mean, he did practice, or at least tried to make it seem like he was going to play last week up until last second. So I would assume he's probably going to play this week.
Lamar Jackson did not practice on Wednesday.
Okay, still not practicing. All right, I take that back. The Ravens are too beat up. I think the Bengals don't really give me a lot of confidence. But if Lamar doesn't play, I'm picking the Bengals. If he plays, I'm saying Bengals. It's in Cincinnati, and
no take backsies. We don't do that here.
Fine. I'll take the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm also. I think the Bengals are just gonna. I mean, I would not be surprised if the Ravens won, but I think the Bengals squeak a close one out. Maybe Harbaugh goes for another 2-point conversion at the end of the game.
Yeah, we'll see.
Next game, Chargers at the Texans. Chargers.
Yeah, not too much on this one. The Chargers. Chargers are in a get right game after that tough loss this last week.
Then we have the final 1:00 game, the Buccaneers at the Panthers. Do the Bucs have another letdown?
No, I mean, I know the Buccaneers are pretty crippled, but Tom Brady's going to come out pissed off, and this is going to be a get right game.
Yeah,
he's not getting shut out again. I don't think the Panthers are going to score, so I'm going Buccaneers.
Next game we have another doozy: Bears at the Seahawks.
Oh, talk about two franchises just falling apart.
Yeah, talking about too much whiz. I don't think it's too much whiz to say that Russ is going to be out of Seattle at the end of this year.
Listen, we'll see. It doesn't matter how bad he plays; they're not going to let him go unless he wants to go. But I think that the Bears are in a worse situation than the Seahawks, and that is saying something because they're both kind of in a tough spot. So I think the Seahawks win this at home.
Yeah, I also will take the Seahawks here. Next game we have is the Broncos at the Raiders. Broncos lost Bridgewater. I don't know what his status is. Excuse me. And Drew Lock didn't look very good. Raiders at home, why not?
Yeah, I can't imagine Bridgewater plays this game. I mean, he literally was stretchered off
and he was in the hospital, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the NFL's been getting chewed out from recent years for concussion settlements. I can't imagine that Teddy Bridgewater gets to walk in and play a game after being in a hospital. So I'll take the Raiders.
Next game we have is the Steelers at the Chiefs. I don't think we're going to see any upsets here. The Steelers just barely win when they do. So I'll take the Chiefs.
Yeah, I picked the Steelers last week, but the Chiefs are cruising right now. They're the hottest team in football, arguably. I think the Chiefs win.
We have the beat-up Washington football team on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys. I mean, yeah, I'm just going to take the Cowboys. I don't know who's even playing for Washington. They didn't look very good against the Eagles, so.
Yeah, Cowboys at home. I believe if they win this game, they win the division. So I think they're going to be ready for a party. So I'm going Dallas.
And then our Monday night game is the Dolphins at the Saints. I'm once again picking the Saints solely because actually, this is the opposite of the Vikings pick. I'm going to pick the Saints because I want the Dolphins to lose so the Eagles have a better draft pick. Because I don't think the Saints will be a factor in the wild card.
Yeah, just curious on when they were making the schedule, who thought that the Dolphins versus the Saints in Week 16 would be a Monday Night Football game?
I mean,
very odd matchup to have. But
Dolphins were. Even we were pretty high on the Dolphins coming into the year. So,
but the Dolphins versus the Saints, it's not really. There's no juice to that game. They're 7-7. I guess even if they're both really good,
no blood, no history.
There's really not. We're talking about the end of the season, playoff games. Are on the line. This is the one game where it has literally nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
I do think that the Dolphins keep rolling though. I think they go in. Taysom Hill looks terrible as a quarterback. If he doesn't get another guy there to actually throw the ball, they look like a disaster. So I don't know how the Dolphins win every week, but they just keep doing it, and I think they'll win again this week.
Oh, so you're taking the Dolphins?
Yeah, they're cruising, and I've seen enough of the Saints. I know their defense is good, but their offense is terrible. Taysom Hill stinks.
Yeah, well, Their defense is pretty good, so we'll see. It's the first good defense Dolphins have faced in the last 6 games. So
sure, but their offense only put up 9 points this past week. Can the Dolphins put up more than 9 points? Well, I think so.
Guess we'll find out. But I think that pretty much wraps up this episode. Again, nice Eagles win after a sloppy start. They came out, finished after the second quarter, they really just tied at halftime and then took over after that. So good to see that. Hopefully we get a big win over the Giants. Again, I think it'll be ugly and close, but I think they'll find a way to win. Obviously wishing everyone a Merry Christmas if you celebrate that, and a happy and healthy New Year, and fa la 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 and all that,
and the Eagles in the playoffs, la 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 la,
la la la. Yeah. But all right, Tim, you stay safe out there, and I will catch you next time.
Will do. Merry Christmas to you, bud.
All right, Merry Christmas.
Talk to you.
Peace.